Well, first off, the last couple of weeks, what do you feel like's been the difference for you guys?
I think we got a lot of things clicking together, and a big part of it was just trusting the coaches and really focusing on individual assignments. I think that was huge.
Yeah, Missouri Western coming up. Looking at what they've done defensively, one of the top teams against the run. They have some pretty good defensive backs, but up front, looks like this is going to be a good challenge for you guys. What's it going to take?
I think that trusting our schemes, we have really smart offensive coaches, and I think they're going to scheme up what we need to do to beat their defense.
What have you liked about the way you guys have really been able to, hold the defense back last couple of weeks? Braxton's had a lot of time to execute, to both in pass and rush. But what stood out to you about the way you guys have been able to execute those last passes?
Well, it's a lot of fun when you can give your quarterback all that time back there, and then it's a clean pocket when he gets to throw. You never want to be picking him up off the ground after the play, so that's a lot of fun.
Has it kind of surprised you about just the amount of success you guys have had in that regard, like I said, this last?
I don't think so. I've been here a while, and I've seen us have a lot of success. So at this point, we kind of expect ourselves to be successful, and it's more of a disappointment when we're not successful. So we're kind of expecting this because this is what we worked for.
The way the offense as a whole has been able to execute, scoring-wise, the last couple weeks, has that kind of added to a little bit of the push as you're getting into these last few weeks, or just add some of that incentive?
Definitely. Everybody loves to score. We want to score even more than we are. I mean, we put up 41 points, I think, last week. Of course, we want to keep putting up numbers like that, even more if we can, because that's what's going to win us games.
The way you guys have been playing the last couple of weeks, is there anything you put your finger on that's helped you have the success you have?
Turnovers. Absolutely. Turnovers doesn't only help us, but also helps the offense. And it also just kind of helps us getting in the rhythm, and then we start feeding off each other, and that's where those big jumps come from.
It's been a couple of weeks since you faced a truly mobile quarterback. You've had to go back and look at some of those other games just to kind of get a good feel for how you want to attack him, or is it just playing with the same energy the last couple of weeks that you have?
Oh, no, we have a plan in place. We learned from our past mistakes because we have struggled with a scrambling quarterback, and so, we've been focused on that all week. Braden Gleason, our scout team quarterback's been doing a great job. Making sure we keep the contain on him as well. So we've had great simulation, and I feel like we're prepared.
The success you've had against Hayes and UCM, as a collective defense, how does that motivate you? How does that encourage or inspire you heading into these last few weeks of the regular season?
We just got to use this momentum and keep going. I feel like each week we're getting better and better. Each week we're breaking down new walls, and I feel like we're finally getting the rolling. We know who we are as a defense. We know how we need to play, and so we come out every Saturday with something on our goal, and we take care of it.
Well, Coach, Missouri Western coming up on Saturday. As you look at them, what challenges are they going to offer your football team?
They're a very good football team. They were a good football team last year. They're better this year. They, offensively, they have a quarterback that is really, really good. We're going to have to make sure we do a good job of containing him. He's got a year under his belt of running this offense, and he's their leading rusher. He can make things happen with his legs, especially when he goes back there to pass. We got to make sure that we do a good job in our rush lanes, and they also have really good running backs too as well. But it does start with those guys up front, and they got a good offensive line. Defensively, they, to me, are one of the teams in the league that has, to me, the most talented secondary in the league, if not the top two in the league. Two of the best corners that we've seen. They've been there, I feel like, forever. They're at Missouri Western. They're both very good players. They're very athletic. So it's going to be a big challenge. I mean, we're both sitting at 4-3, and they're coming. Last year we had to score with just a little bit over a minute left to win that football game. So we're coming off two big wins ourselves, and our challenge has been to keep this thing going and keep our momentum. And so I look for a very just typical MIAA game, very very physical football game, and we're going to have to play very very well.
Have they been kind of a difficult team to figure out? They had a really big win early against a tough team, and then they've had some games where they've really struggled against good teams too. It looks like a little bit of a polarizing group.
Well, I'm sure they get the same question asked about us because we're the same way. Part of that is the league. I mean, there's good football teams in this league, if you're not ready, you're going to get beat. So sometimes, I always say that you should never ever compare scores in the conference, just because that's not going to tell you anything. It's all about who's ready to play each and every Saturday, and so again, that's the thing about it is they're to me, they've lost some close games. Last week they showed great character in making that comeback and just come up short. So, I can tell they're a hungry football team or they're a hungry football program, and they're really wanting to take that next step.
Last couple of times you guys have seen a true dual threat quarterback, and defense kind of struggled, but the last 2 weeks, the way the defense is played, does that encourage you going back into kind of this multi-faceted offense that they provide?
Well, I think regardless of there's been good signs over there, regardless of whether or not we're seeing a different type of offense this week or seeing an offense that we've seen kind of similar to Central. So I think the main thing is we're playing better over there. And on top of that, we're getting turnovers. And anytime that you can get turnovers, plus I really think that ever since the Lindenwood game, I think we're tackling better and we're being more physical over there on that side of the football.
Just the way your own offense has been excelling maybe the last game and a half, 2 games especially, is that something you're really, really hoping, what do you think's the key to maintaining that going into these last 4 weeks?
Well, I think our guys have some confidence right now. I think early on there when we had our struggles, we just weren't connecting just with receivers and Braxton and just kind of the whole package, kind of the way that we want to be offensively. But I think now, and I've said this too, our receivers have taken a lot of heat early on in the year, but now they've really stepped it up and brought their A game along with, I've always felt like our offensive line has played really well throughout the whole year and been really consistent, and they got to continue to get better because it does start with those guys up front. And I think too, what excites me about us offensively is we're able to, depending on how teams want to play us. I mean, it's not like the end of the year last year or even at the beginning of the year this year where teams just tried to drop 8 on us and force us to run the football. I mean, I don't think you got to force us to run the football because I feel like that we can run the football.